Welcome, everybody. I'm going to ask you to indicate that you're present. Lee,
Yes.
Farah,
Here.
Eugene,
Here.
Nat,
I'm here.
Tammy,
Here.
and Austin is here. Thank you all. No changes or additions to the agenda. Next item is the approval of minutes. So let's see what minutes we actually have in the packet. Do we have May 22nd in the packet?
There was an additional email that Sharon sent with a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, right. Was it that was in the other email?
Yep.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 22nd?
So moved.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay. Any corrections? Okay. Any objection to the approval of the minutes? Okay. The minutes are approved. August 13th?
So moved.
Second.
Corrections, edits to the minutes of August 13th. Okay, any objection to the approval of the minutes? We're going to approve by unanimous consent. Hearing no objection, the minutes are approved. Okay, next is an opportunity for public comment. There are two attendees. If anybody would like to make a comment, please put up your virtual hand. Okay, I see no public comment. So, there's a lot going on Amity Street. There's a lot going on with the construction project. The construction team, if that's the right word, the architects and the general contractor and the OPM and people from the library attend a weekly meeting to go over what's been going on at the site. Those meetings are incredibly detailed, but they're about construction things. I will say that having attended those meetings, I continue to be very impressed with the quality of the OPM, their preparation, their ability to ask hard questions of the architects and the general contractors. Near as I can tell, it's been pretty seamless so far. It's not that they're not bumping into problems, issues. They're bumping into issues. They find something that they didn't anticipate, and then they've got to figure out a workaround. That's certainly part of the process in any construction project that involves an older building. So I can just tell you from my point of view, Sharon attends, she can lend her voice. I think so far we have been very well served by this particular team. The architect is there as well to chime in when someone says, what do we do about this? Or the drawing wasn't as precise about that. So it's going to be a long process. It's going to be a process that's going to involve, decisions that were not anticipated, but that's true for all construction projects. And we're operating with a commitment to try to stay within the budget of the project. Sharon, did you want to say anything else about those meetings?
No, I love your description, and I'm always impressed with how everybody comes to the meetings prepared, well informed, and when they speak, they're succinct. They get right to whatever issue it is. I think we're really lucky to have the team that we do.
So far, so good. The library building committee will meet again. We're meeting basically once a month. And among the things we will do will be approving the payment of invoices to the architect and the general contractor and the OPM. And of course, we'll review with the building committee where we are in terms of the progress of the project. The OPM will give a detailed report. So that is my thing. I will say I continue to believe that Amherst is very well served by its library and by its library staff. I hear nothing but good things about 101. People are able to get there, they're able to park, they're able to go inside, they're occasionally able to find things. So it seems that is, from what I hear, that is going very well. And I am trying to create a movement, as you know, to say, let's just stay at 101. What do you think? No, okay. So that's my report. Anything else that you want to know? Okay. Next, Farah, buildings and facilities.
We have not, we're meeting next week on Tuesday. We have not met since our last meeting when we reported on our previous meeting. But I did want to add that I just love the space at 101, and it's amazing what I mean, it's their vision for our new library. So it's been pretty, I'm in there at least once or twice a week. Bring
Right.
friends.
Right. And Sharon, while we're at it, what's the reaction of the staff to 101 now that they've settled in and they're doing it on a daily basis?
Oh, very good. Very good. Everybody's got their new flow, and yeah, the only downside is no space for programming. And
Yeah.
so they're having to rethink how they provide that.
Yep. Good. Okay, thanks for. Next is the development committee.
That's me.
That's you.
Okay. All right. So the annual fund report is, they took in $7,000 and a little bit of change last month. And for the capital campaign, well, I'm surprised also that I thought you would begin by pointing out on the agenda the beautiful photograph of you next to a very large check that is being given to the town from the capital campaign. A
Yeah,
little
look at
over.
that. Did you see that on the agenda?
Yeah, it's
That
right
is very
there.
good. And do you see the look on my face? I'm thinking to
Oh,
myself,
yeah,
why are they
well,
not
it's your
giving this check
usual
to
look,
me?
right?
Yeah, exactly.
I, however, am uncharacteristically smiling. So anyway, it was very nice. It was a lovely moment. And we turned over a little more than $2 million to the town, which was very satisfying, I think, for everybody. Okay. The next, all right, so the capital campaign committee, as I've said before, spent the summer reorganizing ourselves. We are now fully staffed. We have an upcoming meeting scheduled. There will be a presence of the capital campaign committee at the town block party, I believe that's called. We've also started, this was Kent's inspiration, to find what we're referring to. It makes people laugh, makes young people laugh. The next generation. So when Kent and I talk about the next generation, we mean people under 60. Nonetheless, it's meaningful. And we had a terrific meeting, and the Historic Society in their new location on Boltwood let us use their space. So that was also a nice collaboration. And it was a terrific meeting, and there are lots of ideas coming forward. And I mean, there are like 3 reasons to do this. I mean, one is we need the next generation. The library needs the next generation. Eventually, this capital campaign will be over, but the ongoing need to keep raising private money continues. So we need that. And we need to understand how or if the way in which fundraising activities are conducted will shift with this generation and with, with the internet and all the other things that that goes with. And we also, frankly, need new prospects. And I mean, it may be, it's not, it's a fact of fundraising. And they knew that, and we have the further meetings scheduled with each of them about house parties and people that might direct us to. So, but it was a very energetic meeting, and so that was good. And ancillary to that, there's one person there who's going to work with me and another member of the old Capital Campaign Committee to tap into the network of Amherst Regional High School alums, which is very active and has some very interesting people in it. So that's ongoing. Also, I had a meeting with one member of the library staff to see if we could engage the library staff in being interested about fundraising. And after about a 2-hour conversation, I'd like to say this person has drunk the Kool-Aid. And so we're scheduling a meeting with the entire library, heads of departments, heads of programs, whenever Sharon can arrange it. So to come in and to educate people. I mean, this is something I know about from my past life, and I think that the library staff is analogous to faculty. They don't necessarily understand how the budget is made. They don't understand how they might contribute, and I don't necessarily only mean by money, but how their participation in the whole process can be very helpful in an ongoing way. And it's just very exciting to see the enthusiasm of this first person, which I think will translate generally. Okay. We're also continuing to look at new grants for which we might be eligible, and we're going to be applying for one by the end of the month in a fairly substantial amount. And all right, well, there's two parts. So if you look at the capital campaign report, it says new gifts and pledges raised were a little over 17,000, but that we received a total of 1,117,000 in pledge payments and new gifts. So that was substantially the fact that the HUD payments came through. And this was not a passive pass-through. It took a lot of ongoing work to keep that million plus alive. And we're deeply grateful to Representative McGovern, to his staff, to our senators, to our other representatives, to our state representatives, and to everybody in town who, and of course on the committee, who wrote and phoned and said, keep hope alive. And the money did come through, and we are deeply grateful. And then for this is just me, because the detail numbers often fall out of my brain. But there's been some controversy about how we seem to have reported that we've lost money on the capital campaign side. Okay, so a long time ago, you may remember, it was high, and that caused us to have to rethink how much money needed to be raised. So again, there was a campaign mounted, and the imagination for that campaign came from the library and the Capital Campaign Committee. We organized the other libraries that were in our situation, and we mounted a campaign that for all of us, there should be a way found for the MBLC to increase the funds that we got. That campaign was successful. And in our jubilation, we put those funds on the capital campaign side of the ledger, because frankly, that was where the energy had come from. But now that we actually have a project and we're looking at how best to represent that going forward, we had a very vigorous discussion within the capital campaign committee about where to leave that $1 million+. And we finally decided that because partly, well, because it was the conduit was going to be the MBLC, that it should be with the state. It should be on the MBLC's side of the ledger. This it's sort of a fact. Some of us thought it was more honorable to put it there. And then some of us were just had an aesthetic view about how the thermometer was going to look. And there, if you do it that way, if you shift that million, you can see that it's a third, a third, a third. A third for this is coming from the town, a third is coming from the state, a third is coming from the library and the capital campaign committee. So the total amount raised hasn't changed, but the attribution, the credit, if you like, has shifted. And I think that might be all that I have to say from
Oh,
the development committee.
Lee,
Pat.
can I just
Yes,
ask
please.
one more thing? So the other piece of that, I believe the other reason why it may have looked like the capital campaign total had dropped was that a certain amount had dropped actually because we had lost the
Oh, the
NIH
million. Yeah.
money. So
Right.
that was the only real money lost.
Right. And that, right. And I couldn't tell where these questions were coming from because we removed that with that explanation repeatedly a long time ago. Yes, but you're absolutely right. If the right, I'm so deep in the weeds, that, right, that I can't imagine it, that the entire universe doesn't know that what was one thing and another. We lost that $1 million. Yeah, but we're still you never know the future. We're doing what we can to keep paperwork in place in case anything changes. They know we're still here. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Lee. Questions for Lee?
I'm done.
So I have a question. I was a little confused by what it is that you're asking the staff to do.
I knew you would be. I want the staff, I really want, I use the analogy to faculty, and I hope I'm not insulting the Amherst College faculty or the UMass faculty. But in my experience, the faculty have very little understanding of how the budget is made. And so when I said to this person that 75% of the operating budget of the library comes from the town, this person thought, oh, my pitch is I want to beat up on the town and get them to give us more money. And I said, no, what I want you to understand is 25% of the budget has to come from someplace other than the town. It's not limited to private fundraising, but it includes private fundraising. And this person was a revelation. And it's not shameful to ask for money. It's not begging to ask for money. It's an honor to be asked to contribute to something that you like. But it's also, there are many ways to contribute that don't involve asking for money. And the library does programming, and the programming has people who come to the library, and it would be helpful to be able to have a presence at some of those programs that said, this program was brought to you with the contribution from the Friends of the Jones Library, and this is what the Friends of the Jones Library does. And this person had lots of other ideas for things that the library might do that might be helpful to the general fundraising enterprise. So we are not asking the staff to contribute. We are not asking people who come to library programs to continue. We just want to educate people about the reality of how the activities of the library are actually brought for their benefit.
So I'm sorry to just want to dwell with this a little bit because I remain a little uncertain. Are we asking is the plan to ask staff people to engage in fundraising activities?
No. No,
So the plan is to ask them to do what?
the
To,
plan is to ask them first to understand how the library is actually funded and to see, once they understand that, if they have any ideas about how their activities might mesh with the fundraising side of the Friends. Could the Friends come in and just say, this was brought to you by the Friends of the Jones Library, and here's some information about the Friends, and that's it. I mean, we're at the very beginning, but no, we are not asking the staff to contribute unless they want to. And we're certainly not asking patrons of the library to contribute in order to participate. But I believe that fundraising is an honorable activity, and allowing people to participate in it ennobles them.
well, I agree with that, Lee, but again, I
Good.
remain a little, are we asking them to engage in fundraising activities? And you said, I thought, no. And in any case, I think this is worth a conversation. I think maybe I'll leave it to the library director to maybe talk with the PPP about what this is involving, how, if at all, it's involving staff. I just want to make sure that the trustees fully understand what staff of the library are being asked to do. It's not that I think it's the wrong thing to do, I don't know. But I just want to have a little clarity about it so that if somebody says, did you know that I went to a program at the library and they said it was this or that, we would know what was going on. So how about we do it that way? Sharon and Lee put together something that the PPP can look at, and then the trustees can be educated.
Fine.
But any other questions for Lee? So as I understand it, in the last month or in up to through August, we had 11 donors contribute $17,000.
If that's what it says, that's what it says.
Well, I just want to make sure I understand it. It says in August 25, we received 1.1, whatever, in pledges and
Mhm.
payments and new gifts from 11 donors. So that new gift is the 17,000, or is it
Yep.
somewhere else?
No, that's it.
Any other questions for Lee? Okay, thank you, Lee. By the way, why is there a pickleball sign in front of my house?
Because we're hoping that you'll come and play pickleball.
Because I put it there.
There
So
you go.
do we want to just remind ourselves and anybody else when the pickleball tournament is
November 9th, Sunday.
and where is it?
It's at the Hampshire College, whatever. Rich, I don't have it in front of me.
I believe it's at the Hampshire College tennis courts.
Right,
It's the
Yeah.
Bay Road Tennis Club.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for putting the sign. Okay, next is the PPP.
Okay, we had a meeting scheduled for August 12th, but we did not have a quorum, so we did not meet. Our next meeting is next week, September 16th. We will look at the bylaws and then we'll look at whatever Lee and Sharon send us. I will ask Farah for a Jedi report because they did meet in August 15th, but I don't know if that was reported at a prior board meeting or not. Farah?
Hi, no, it was not reported. Thank you. So we met a couple of weeks ago. We were kind of focused on getting a youth member to join our subcommittee. And it's been kind of hard. There were a couple of kids who were interested from the high school before the summer, but the summer we could never find a date where everyone could meet. We had to cancel a couple of meetings. So then since then, those students moved on to other things. So we spent some of our meeting trying to figure out how to accommodate students' needs, because do you do it during flex, which they don't have anymore, or after school? And then we talked about possibly meeting in the evening, since it's only once a month. But we've also done things like a couple of some members are just meeting separate from our monthly meetings, just to cover different areas. For instance, two of us met with heads of departments this afternoon, heads of departments and Sharon, just to see how we could help them. Well, reflecting back on our charge of how we want to make sure that our patrons feel like they belong in the library, and to see how we as a subcommittee can support the staff in their programming and how they envision how things are going to be in the new building. Because one of the things that came up today was how space is really limited, and if especially the children's and teens rooms, if they plan to have something off-site, then who's going to be at the desk? So there's a lot of little things going on, and so we're still in conversation with them about that. We did oh, there were some things like, you know, new families in town weren't excited that there were limited offerings at the new space for their kids, and that's only because of space. So all these little things that they have to work out, but we wanted to see how we could help them, especially in terms of having patrons feel more welcome in the space and in the new space. We did have a discussion about what to do about a lot of the school, like the middle school and high school kids on early release days, which are a lot of Wednesdays, used to go to the library to hang out. So either the library or CVS, and there's no space now. And I had actually reached out to the Drake to see if that could be a possibility. But then, you know, there's this whole thing with liquor licensing, and you need someone on staff who's trained. So I don't know what's happening. I don't know if we've only had one early release so far. So I don't know if students are going to 101. But we'll see what happens as the school year unfolds. I guess that was it. Sharon, did I miss anything? No. Any
Thank you,
questions?
Farah.
That was a lot, I know, but you know, that we have one. Oh, and our next meeting is on the 26th at the Munson at 11:30. And one of the things, the frustrations is members of the community never show up for any of our meetings. So we don't know if it, you know, so we just want to keep making sure that they know that we're having these meetings, and the DEI, the town, like Pamela Nolan Young and Philip are posting our meetings in their newsletter. So we're hoping that more people hear about it, but that's all.
All right. Questions for Farah? Okay, thank you very much.
I also wanted to say that Rich Morse has a sign on my front yard as well. And he's been stalking my neighborhood.
Oh, he's on my front yard too.
I'm kind of scary.
I have one question for Sharon. What time is the naturalization service at Munson?
It's at
On-
11 at Munson.
It's
11
at
next Wednesday.
11.
Yeah.
Okay, 11 a.m. I have a personnel board meeting at 10 or 11, so that's a bummer. Okay. That's all for PPP. Thank you, Farah.
Sharon, since that was mentioned, you just want to just say so everybody knows what's going on with the naturalization ceremony.
Lynn is hosting another naturalization ceremony. I don't have the government puts out the actual program, so we're still waiting for that. And that will include how many people and how many countries are represented, and that's always really exciting. But 11 a.m. next Wednesday, if you're in the southern part of Amherst, go to the Munson Memorial Library, and witnessing this event is such an honor. It makes you stop and think everything that it makes me stop and think everything that I take for granted. Please come.
Yeah, and those people will actually know how many members there are of the House of Representatives, unlike the rest of us. Farah?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I went last year and it's pretty amazing because I did mine in New York, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, and it's not as personal as this one is. But the one question the one thought I've had in my head for the last couple of weeks about this is, are we worried about ICE showing up? Like,
Great question. I don't know. I know I have a feeling I shouldn't say definitely, but I have a feeling Cress will be there. I think they were there last year. I don't know.
okay. I'm sure people have thought about all these things, so yeah. Thank you.
Okay, anything else for Farah? All right, Lee Edwards, budget and investment.
Okay, we met, I don't know, a couple of days ago. I mean, you have the minutes for the August meeting. And it was, it was somewhere between fairly and totally routine. The audit for FY25 has not been completed, but it's in progress. Say again? Yep. Opening the new library entailed some additional operations expenses because there were some startup costs, and what I wrote down were keys and light bulbs. So it's some, but it's not enormous or amazing. And the utilities are considerably remaining lower than the current building. Some of the checks that I mentioned that were thought to be lost and for which payments were canceled, in fact, showed up either
Good.
back at the library or,
Good.
yeah, but which was annoying, but it was not catastrophic. But we're continuing to seek information about the possibility of executing more of our financial transactions electronically rather than via paper. But we have no update to
Yep.
discuss, so that'll come in. Okay, and let's see. The endowment was at $9,143,007. And the Woodbury Fund was at 314,482, which reflects the contribution, the generous contribution of the Friends and the library of $500,000 to the capital campaign. And the only item that might require trustee action, but it can wait because it wasn't on the agenda, was to increase the mileage compensation for people traveling on behalf of the library from, I think, 67 cents to 70 cents. So
No,
it could be
it is on the agenda.
Oh, well, then I move that we increase the mileage allowance for people traveling on behalf of the library to 70 cents per mile.
I will
Is there a second?
I will second that, and also mention that that's also the for 2025. That's the IRS standard. So the library will be following the IRS standard for reimbursement.
Thank you.
Discussion of this motion to increase from 67 to 70 cents. Sharon, how much of this is actually used over the course of a year?
Not enough. I was just doing these figures. Let's say last year we paid out a little over $1,000, 1,500, something like that. So not a lot. It was It was 59 cents, so that's what we're increasing it by 2 now. We're behind the times. When I say we, I mean me. Anyways, yeah, 70 cents.
Again, I'm just now a little, so the current rate is 59
59?
cents?
Correct, yeah.
Oh, I
That's
thought it
what-
was
Not
67,
67.
sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, no, not a problem, just want to understand. Okay, any other questions about this increase in the reimbursement rate? Is this reimbursement rate the same rate that the town uses?
I don't know. Last time you voted
no idea.
yes, but I don't know what the process is by which they kind of have a different, a larger organization. I don't know how Paul does it.
Okay. Any other discussion of the motion? So it'll have some modest, not great budgetary impact. And this mileage reimbursement is used primarily for people doing professional development things?
Yeah.
Library staff do not use their own cars to do things like homebound, or do they?
They do.
So it's also covers that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, are you ready to vote? All right, Lee,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
thank you. Nat,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
and Austin votes yes. More from budget and investment. Anything else, Lee?
No, that's it.
All right, any other questions for Lee on budget? So this is really a question for Sharon as well as Lee. We are kind of early in our year, budget-wise. How does it look?
I'll leave it to, my
Sharon.
sense is it looks good, but I'll leave it to Sharon.
Yeah. Fine. Very, very fine. Excellent for FY26. What we're starting to work on is moving into the FY27 budget process. And so I don't even have draft figures yet. Right now, the union is in negotiations for FY26 figures. And in the past, they have negotiated a contract that includes 3 fiscal years. So I'm hoping once that contract is settled, I will have an FY26 and an FY27 wage scale, which is what I need in order to do the FY27 budget request. And why that's relevant is because we will be hiring another maintenance assistant, an assistant for the young adult department, and an assistant for the special collections department. And these will all be full-time positions that are already belong to us, but it's gonna come at a cost. And so there will be the FY27 budget season will be deep in conversation. It will be involved.
Do you anticipate any changes in state aid for libraries?
So I hope not. The trend has been over the past few years, so much advocacy has happened for public libraries. And the message from librarians to our elected officials has been state aid is where we could really use the boost, because each town is different at each library, whether it's a city, rural, it doesn't matter what we're talking about. When we get a state aid payment, it can be used for anything. We need our money for personnel, for staff, but there are other towns out there that need the money for programming or building projects, things like that. So because of our advocacy efforts, the state aid pot has gotten larger over the years. It's been great. So I think the pot of money will be large. What the Jones Library receives, I think, I don't know if it will decrease. It depends on so many different factors, but because we were closed as part of the building project, our circulation went down. it transferred to the branches, a part of it. So it's not that our circulation went down to zero, but it affected it. So it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. So that's a very long way of saying, don't know.
Okay. All right, any other question about budget or investment? Lee, are we still kind of happy with the investment people that you're working with, Mercer?
Ah, I wasn't gonna bring that up. We are the interface between Mercer and Vanguard is turning out to be less seamless
Mhm.
than it might be hoped. And so we're going to start to see what other options might be available.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, but what with everybody's travel schedule being what it is, that this investigation won't start until next month, and we'll let you know what we learn.
Thank you. Okay, if no other questions for Lee, thank you so much, Lee.
My pleasure.
Next is a report from the Friends of the Jones Library System.
Good afternoon. The Executive Board of the Friends of the Jones Libraries met on Monday, September 8th at the police station meeting room. We approved funding for a range of library programs for the fall, including things like chess activities and Sing with Your Baby. I was bluntly told that I was in dereliction of duty currently because I have never attended a Sing with Your Baby session. So I will take care of that and leave my grumpy face at home for that. Next, we closed up our annual fund for FY25, or at least talking about it. We raised about 120 something thousand dollars last year, which was considered to be satisfactory. We are on course for the pickleball tournament on Sunday, November 9th. Will be all day. We have raised a considerable amount of money from sponsors. The pickleball signs are in pursuit of players. That's why they're all over town. We have 15 players right now. We're looking for 96 or multiples of 4 around that number, which would make the participation part of that adequate. We have modest ambitions about how much money we're raising from that. And we approved the appointment of a new treasurer to replace our very talented old treasurer. So we have made that switch and we now have a new treasurer named Tom Porter. That's the report.
Thank you, Rich. Questions for Rich? Thank you, and thanks for all the work that's being done about the pickleball tournament, because I think, as you know much better than I, whatever the money is gravy. What is generated is excitement about the library, enthusiasm, gratitude, knowledge. So thanks for doing that. Sharon?
Hi, everybody. So just a couple of things, and then I want to brag about the staff. Our IT person purchased an additional module for our patron counters for here at 101 because we've got capacity limits. And so what the patron counters are doing now is in real time, you can walk in and it shows on a monitor how many people are in the space so that we know we're up to code. Yeah, so we're controlling our occupancy levels. That's awesome. The bragging about the staff, I wanted to thank them. They've all adult kids and the teen departments have finished their summer reading programs. For the kids department, we had 132 kiddos participate. Teens, we had 86, and adults 203. And, staff pulled this together in a pretty short period of time, and it was during a move. And it's just pretty extraordinary. And so much fun was had by all. And upcoming, I wanted to talk about the outreach. So that's what staff are thinking about now in terms of where to have the programs. A lot of them are happening off-site. And so we're going to be represented at the block party, at the farmers market. They're going to be doing story times. And then there's a couple of community groups that will be coming here to do some story times, a literature class and a Spanish course. It's fabulous. It's a lot of work. Being a children's librarian, it's one of the reasons that I'm a library director, is because being a children's librarian is very difficult. And I'm honored to work with these folks. And one other thing, another statistic that I saw come through my email had to do with our children's collection. And it used to be, like when I started, the children's collection was like 70% older than me. And that is old. But now, upwards of 60% of our children's collection is within 10 years old. And that's really, as far as public libraries go, that's really important. It's important for public libraries. We're not archives. We are not, academic libraries. We are primarily about popular, up-to-date collections, and our staff have done a really excellent job of curating and the collection, and it just gets better and better. So I just wanted to highlight that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. I have a couple of questions. I think it would be kind of, I don't know, dereliction of something not to remember that we are 9/11. 9/11 for my students is, it might as well be Pearl Harbor. And I think the library should not let 9/11 go unmarked. I don't know what that means. I don't know whether it means a program focusing on 9/11 and what happened. I also wonder if we could do something on every 9/11 to recognize and express our gratitude to the people who work in the Amherst Fire Department, the people who work in the Amherst Police Department. So 9/11 means a lot of things to a lot of people. One thing it might mean to a lot of people, or should mean, is to recognize first responders. I don't have a thing. I just think that it would be good not to let 9/11 fade into memory, and that we might use that as an occasion, whether it's us in conjunction with, I don't know, any other town thing, to make, to use library talk, a gashray a little bit about the fire department and the police people. We've certainly depended on police and CRES, I guess. And it would be good if and 9/11 seems to be a good moment to do it. The second thing is, every year there's a day set aside called Constitution Day. And I believe that Constitution Day is the 17th of September, but I could be off by a constitution or two. And I think it would be good every year for the library to do a program about American Constitution, American democracy. Maybe it could be something that we do a reading of the American Constitution. we stand out on University Drive and we read the American Constitution. I mean, I don't know what. But I think more important than ever is that the library be involved in celebrating, marking Constitution Day, whether or not we have a naturalization ceremony. That's in and of itself quite wonderful. Lee Edwards has her hand up. Lee?
Yes, I don't want to be contentious, but if we're starting to think about these things, might we want to think about January 6th?
Well, having just finished my last class, this response feels very familiar to me. Absolute silence. So, yes, we can think about a lot of possibilities. I'm simply suggesting 9/11 because that's today. And I think it would be good for people to remember what it was. But anybody who wants to suggest anything else for the library, they should feel free to do it. For me, 9/11 and Constitution Day were two naturals because they didn't seem to me to be particularly contentious, but I may be wrong. Farah?
I like the idea of 9/11. I mean, I don't like the idea of 9/11, but you know, it's just, I mean, I was in New York then and it was horrific. But I think what's so strange is that it's in history book, you know, that it's in history books, and having lived it, I think it's really important. I think the fire department does do something. Don't they do something, or they had in years past? And I don't know how that would look, but I'm sure there are many people in this town who are transplants from New York too, and people would be, you know, could speak about it, but my 2 cents.
Yeah, this is not a trustee issue, so to speak. It's up to the library what they do. I'm just making a suggestion that we think about whether we can do something about 9/11 and whether we can do something to mark Constitution Day, which seems to me to be, again, more important than ever with all of its imperfections. This is not, I'm not saying we should just, celebrate and the Constitution is perfect, but I'm just suggesting that the library director and the staff think about this.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay. I think we're done. So let's adjourn. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay well.